こんにちは。テニスソールのお時間です。今回は、高い打点のフォアハンドの打ち方、3選を紹介したいと思います。高い打点のフォアハンド、苦手意識はありませんか？試合中に相手から高く弾むトップスピンのボールを打たれたり、チャンスボールを高い打点で処理しようとした時に、うまく打てない。そんな経験、ありませんか？高い打点でのフォアハンドは、試合で主導権を握るためにとても重要です。しっかりと打てるようになれば、攻撃的なショットが増え、相手にプレッシャーをかけることができます。逆に、苦手なままだと、せっかくのチャンスボールを活かせず、ピンチボールとなってしまいます。高い打点は力が入らない。高い打点で打ちたくない。という悩みをお持ちの方は必見です。海外で人気のテニスコーチたちの動画を参考に、高い打点のフォアハンドについて解説していきます。ぜひ、最後まで視聴し、安定感があり、かつ攻撃的なフォアハンドを身につけてください。
So one tip right off the bat, because that is what I'm seeing a lot, that is basically exacerbating the whole issue with the high balls, is that a lot of players, and especially newer players, start way too close to the baseline. Take 1, 2, 3 steps back, and you're going to be able to take the same ball that previously was probably above the shoulder, at least shoulder height. So that's a really quick fix, and you're not going to get drop shotted to death. And if they try that, well, let them try. Let them do something that they don't want to necessarily do or have been doing, and you're always faster moving forward than moving backwards. So adjust your court position right off the bat.
Now, in terms of stances, once you actually get to the ball, you're gonna have to decide how open or closed you want to be. A lot of pros for higher balls are going to get in a variation of a semi-open or open stance, but for lower balls, they're gonna get into more of a closed stance. So in your unit turn, along with where the ball is gonna go, you wanna take a note of what height it's gonna be at so that you know whether you should get into an open stance or a closed stance. I have the perfect drill for you. First things first, either have a hitting partner or a coach in front of you for this. And if you're actually by yourself, you can alternatively do all of these drills while tossing them in front of you as well. First off, I'm gonna have Dayshree toss the ball right in front of me, and I'm gonna practice the unit turn and stepping in front. And as you can see, I'm not gonna hit the ball, but instead, I'm gonna use my off arm to catch it. This is gonna help you to engage your off arm, and it's also gonna help you to move in the precise way that we talked about to get in position to the ball. So again, I'm gonna split, unit turn, cross step, and then catch. From there, I can start adding a little bit of variation in height. So I can move up for a high ball and set up in an open stance or a semi-open stance. And then for a low ball, I'm gonna move up in a neutral stance. Once you get used to that, you can start spicing things up and adding the inside out, where you cross your back foot behind your front foot, and the forward shuffle with the forehand side. And here's what it looks like by yourself. I'm gonna toss a ball straight in front of me, start my movement, and then catch. And last but certainly not least, you can have your opponent, while you're doing these drills, have them surprise you with a really short ball. On higher balls, pros are actually gonna set up in more of a semi-open stance, which is where their feet are about 45 degrees to the service line with most of their weight on the back foot. And being able to set up in a more open stance is gonna allow you to raise your hitting arm shoulder, which is going to raise your contact height as well. Now, as pros straighten their back leg against the ground, this is gonna propel them into the air and help them to accelerate their hip and torso forward to the net. Simultaneously, they'll take their left leg forward almost as if they're taking a big step forward. And this allows them to transfer their weight forward for maximum power. And with their weight already going forward, they'll run straight into the net from here. On lower balls, pros are typically gonna set up in the neutral stance with the feet perpendicular to the service line. From there, they'll use what we call the front foot hop technique. This is where you hit a ball from the closed stance, but because of your forward momentum, you're actually gonna hop and then land on the same foot, the front foot, as you rotate. This allows players to maximize their forward momentum while hitting the ball and easily transitioning into the net.
Hey guys, Coach Dan Hammer Tennis, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to handle high forehands. So there's nothing more annoying than playing a match and that ball kicking up, getting out of your strike zone. It's got a lot of spin, it's getting high, it's a very difficult shot. So I'm gonna be showing you guys some ways to handle that ball. All right guys, so you can see I got the ball machine set up here. The slinger's shooting them out pretty nice and high for me. So that ball's hitting and that's kicking up. So that ball is about over my head. So that's a pretty annoying ball. It's got a lot of top spin. That's gonna be a very difficult ball to handle. All right, so how are we gonna handle these high balls? So my favorite way, and the way that I typically recommend, is to turn the tables on them. So they've played a shot that they think is gonna be an offensive shot. And most players let that ball back them up, get them into the fence, into the curtain, or out of their strike zone. And so what happens is you produce a weaker shot. You can try to step up and take the ball on the rise, or you can scoot back and let the ball come back down, back into your strike zone. However, the way that I like to handle a high ball is, instead of trying to hit my normal stroke, I take my regular forehand structure, my leverage system, everything that I do with my hammer at forehand, and I turn, so now I'm tilted upward. So what that's going to allow me to do is, instead of my strike zone being here, my strike zone is now here. So I'm going to treat everything basically the same. So instead of pushing out to the right, I'm going to be pushing up. This is going to set my shoulders at a line this way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be rotating upward where I can hit the ball, extend, and then I'm going to be finishing down. So that's going to let me still drive my shot, be aggressive with it, but yet handle these higher balls that would be out of a normal strike zone, but now they're still right there in the exact same strike zone. I've just changed the angle that I'm swinging my racket. What that's going to do is it's going to produce a ball that's going to have top spin, but because of the angle now that we're swinging, that ball is going to curve off to the right for a right-hander. And so it's almost going to look like, if you were a golfer, kind of like you're fading the ball. So the ball is going to go up, down, and off to the right. And so how that can take a defensive position and turn it to an offensive position for you now is that they're expecting a weak ball, but I'm going to be able to drive this ball, and it's going to now be moving off the court to their backhand side. All right, so I'm going to set my hands up higher than I normally would, and across the ball as I'm extending out to my target. Finish down.
本日は高い打点のフォアハンドのコツ3選を紹介しました。1つ目は適切なポジショニング。2つ目はオープンスタンスを使う。3つ目は体を傾けるでした。今後もこのようにテニス選手、コーチ、テニスファンに役立つ情報を発信していくので、ぜひチャンネル登録、高評価よろしくお願いします。